Your attention, and folks, we are going to starting the program in about 2 minutes, so 2-minute warning. If you can begin to find your seats. Thank you. Hello? This is not loud enough. Hello? Good evening, everyone. Please find your seats. Check, check. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and begin. Those of you in line, just quietly meander as I'm speaking here at the beginning. That's me. All right, all right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Clint Often. I am the chair of the Athletic Hall of Fame Committee here at the University of Mary Washington. And it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 26th University of Mary Washington Athletic Hall of Fame induction banquet. Is the volume good? We good? Thumbs up? Good? Back? Bad? You hear me too well? Okay. We have an amazing array of talent spanning decades of greatness being recognized tonight, and we hope our efforts in recognizing the accomplishments of the inductees approaches their level of achievements that they gave to us at Mary Washington in their incredible careers. As has become the standard practice for events such as these, I would like everyone to get out your phones. But wait, don't turn them off or silence them just yet. I'd like everyone to get on their favorite social media app and be sure to follow UMW Athletics if you don't already. That's at UMW Athletics. Hey, I have a captured audience, Why not boost those followers? Okay, now you can silence your phones, set your camera settings to what they need to be on to take some pictures. And Allie, you can now unlock the doors. Okay. I would like to thank the Hall of Fame committee, Patrick Catullo, Todd Helbling, Dina Appleberry, Mark Thaden, Dan Beverly, and Christy Copper for selecting another outstanding class, and for the support for this event from Lauren Bass and Patrick. I'd like to thank Zan Chen Wu and Allie Chisholm with the Fredericksburg Nationals for all they've done and are doing this evening as well. UMW had one of its greatest seasons in recent memory this year, and it's still continuing, with men's soccer advancing to the NCAA Final Four. Yeah. The volleyball team advancing to the NCAA Tournament Sweet 16. Alex. Both the men's and women's basketball teams advancing to the NCAA Tournament in the same year for the first time ever, with the men advancing to the second round and the women to the Sweet 16. I know my audience. Women's swimming finished 21st in the nation thanks to three-time All-American Kinsey Brooks. The men's and women's tennis teams advanced to the NCAA tournament, and track and baseball are still competing, and hopefully hearing good news on Monday about NCAAs. So this seems an appropriate time to look back, not just to celebrate everything that's happened here since last September 1st, but back to the wonderful careers of our inductees and all the wonderful success that they've gained since they suited up for the Eagles in their time here. So looking at this class of inductees, the span of 4 decades of excellence in such a varied way in sports such as tennis, basketball, soccer, lacrosse, and swimming, you'd think it would be hard to find something in common among them. But surprisingly, this wasn't much of a task, knowing all the inductees as I do. Every one of the inductees share a few characteristics, which will become evident when we talk about each of them. Although they competed in the pool, on the courts, basketball and tennis, and on the fields, each and every one of these folks share the following traits that I think all of us should aspire to. Number one, they are humble. If you sat and talked with any of the inductees for any amount of time, you'd never know how amazing their accomplishments are and what superstars they were. In fact, if you get them to talk at all, it'll likely be about the team's accomplishments and successes and the friendships and bonds that they cherish. Number two, they are incredibly hard workers and lead by example. And number three, they kick butt. I had a really fun time accumulating the combined win-loss records of the individual inductees, and it's my shocked honor to tell you that the combined team results for contests that Noelle, Kate, Michael, and Maureen participated in is 251 wins, 61 losses, and 5 ties, which is an 800 winning percentage. What's more, 12 of those 61 losses were against NCAA Division I opponents. Then I added in the 30-1 record of the basketball team, and the final total is 281 wins, 62 losses, and an 815 winning percentage, which is amazing. Unfortunately, tonight, one of our inductees, Maureen Greenlee, is unable to be with us, but we hope she's watching from home and will join us next year to be inducted in person with next year's class. So Maureen put forth one of the greatest swimming careers in the storied history of the program, gaining 12 All-America performances and taking CAC Swimmer of the Year in 2004 and 2006. Upon graduation, she held 8 school records and conference records, including in the 50-yard freestyle, the 100 free, the 200 medley relay, the 400 medley relay, the 200 free relay, and the 400 free relay. She vaulted the Eagles to 4 conference championships and 2 top 25 finishes at the NCAA championships. So let's give Maureen a big round of applause, and we look forward to seeing her next year. Okay, at the behest of those about to speak who really wanted to go first, our first group of inductees is the 2011 and 12 women's basketball team. This team turned in one of the most memorable seasons in school history in any sport, and not because they were christening the new Anderson Center. Hey, we're at a baseball stadium. That was my third base coach right there. How was that? Was that good? So, okay. This team turned in one of the most memorable seasons in school history in any sport, and not because they were christening the new Anderson Center. They completed the regular season in Capital Athletic Conference tournament undefeated en route to 30 straight victories, a school record to this day. The Eagles showed their trademark outstanding defense all season, limiting their opponents to just 42.4 points per game, an incredible 30.8 field goal percentage. UMW saw just 4 opponents all season score 50 or more points. Now, this is a regulation timed game, the whole 40 minutes. Standout Katie Wimmer gained D3Hoops.com All-America honors and was joined by fellow senior Jenna McRae on the All-Region, Vassad, Richmond Times-Dispatch, All-State, and All-Conference teams. Head coach Dina Appleberry was a finalist for WBCA National Coach of the Year. I asked Coach Appleberry to tell me what she remembers most about this amazing team, and these are her words. Reflecting on this team's success, I believe that it came down to a refuse-to-lose mentality. The journey that this team went on to get their 30 wins in a row and a trip to the Elite Eight was nothing short of challenging yet rewarding. Starting back to our 2010-11 season, which I was not going to bring up, with a tough loss at the end of the year, this group came back with fire in their hearts, resiliency, and the desire to set the record straight, quite literally. The tenacity and grit that these athletes showed up with every day was undeniable and a joy to coach. It is easy to brag on this group and be in awe of their accomplishments. We had the opportunity to host all the way until the Elite Eight, which was rewarding for our athletes and our program. I am so proud of this group and respect them for paving the way for Mary Washington women's basketball and their willingness to learn and play with passion that resulted in an unforgettable season. I'd like to welcome all the members of the team, first team inductees ever, every player, all the coaches, 100% attendance are here with us tonight. So a big round of applause for that. I'd like to welcome, ladies, at this time, I'd like to welcome you all to the front, and to the seniors, to the microphone.
Get behind. We didn't get media training during the season. They just started media timeouts at that time.
You had a very poor sports information director, so I don't blame you. Okay, you good? Where are you? You going one at a time?
Yeah. Wait, tell Coach to come get me. Coach, Coach, come on. Coach, yeah? Ashley. And Ashley. Coach Ashley. Ashley. Where are you at? There she is. my name is Claire Brooks, and first we wanted to start off by saying thank you to the selection committee and those of you guys joining us tonight. It is an absolute honor to be here, and so really thank you. So at the beginning of this season, the entire team, and especially us 4 seniors at the time, went in with one thing in mind: no regrets. The year before, we didn't make it to the NCAA tournament, and we really craved some redemption. Every day, we were reminded of this goal. It was written on the back of our practice shirts, and at each of our games, Coach wrote "no regrets" on the board. Every single member of this team took that theme to heart. We had something to prove, and so we set the intention to leave it all out on the court, and we did just that. We pushed each other to be better every single day, especially on days we had to run an ungodly number of sprints. Thank you, Ashley. Some of us still have nightmares about a backward 7 ladder. Or like that time we had to do 50 push-ups in New Orleans at a random practice. And because of that, we became an absolute powerhouse. The energy and intensity when the subs came in and out of our games never diminished, and that set us apart from the rest of our opponents. Some call this season a historic season, and certainly it ended up that way, but it wasn't necessarily our intent at the time. Even as a team, we didn't really talk about our win streak officially until we had won 25 games. Coach pulled us all together in Gulrick, and we had a talk about the giant elephant in the room. We all just wanted to play to our full potential, and at the end of the season, know that with a certainty that we did everything we could have possibly done to get as far as we possibly could. So we went all out, no regrets.
Good evening. My name is Katie Wimmer, now Stan Campiano. After playing in the cozy, vibrant atmosphere of Gulrick for 3 years, stepping into Anderson kind of felt like the big leagues, if you guys have been there. Luckily, we were able to host over half of our games in the new arena, and with the help of our fans and our families, we were able to break it in and make it feel like home, too. Our fans came from all over and in all ages, from baby Zach Appleberry, who was born the first week of our season, to our Fredericksburg locals who are here today, who have been a part of UMW basketball since well before any of us stepped on campus. Our classmates, the courtside crazies, faculty from all departments, and of course our friends and families who traveled from near and far. As everyone knows, one of the best parts of UMW is how close-knit the campus is, and the faculty's love for the school. In December 2011, beginning of our season, campus started to feel a little closer. Each week we wondered what the flyers across campus and on the Seco tables would say next. From the girls are back in town to Carol Dye's favorite, quick, what's tall, majestic, can fly, and has a 10.5-foot wingspan. Our program's top follower, Professor Davies, went above and beyond that season, giving us something to laugh about and bond over each week when we could have gotten lost in the intensity of the season. Game day was always special, as all you athletes know. New day, same routines. Once you start winning a few games, you can't switch anything up, so you have to put your shoes on the same way, wear the same thing, wear your hair the same way, eat the same thing every single game day. And I'm not just talking about us standing up here. To all of our fans who wore the same outfit, sat in the same exact seat, went to home team before every home game, we definitely thank you guys. And I honestly don't think we would have won our 30 games in a row if it weren't for Miss Partonen having tuna bites and mimosas before every home game. Your dedication was next level, and we hope you never have to consume those on a Saturday morning ever again. So thank you to all of our fans and our families for your support on and off the court that season and for showing up each and every game day. We couldn't have done it without you guys, so we appreciate that.
Hello, my name is Jenna McCrae. I wanted to just take a moment to say thank you to the other members of the team and our coaches, Coach Dina Appleberry and Assistant Coach Ashley Reed. Ashley, we're so happy you were such an integral part of this team, and we were able to share this experience with you. Thank you for making us do an unbelievable amount of sprints at the beginning of that season while Coach was on maternity leave. It really started that season off with a bang. Coach, thank you for all that you've done for this program at UMW and for believing in us to accomplish something that probably none of us even thought possible. You're right in saying that the season definitely had its challenges, and I think only the people standing up here today really understand exactly what that meant. There was definitely a little bit of stress that came with being undefeated for 30 games, so thanks for bearing with us through that. And to all the women standing behind me, you're the reason that we were able to make these accomplishments happen. You put your full trust in us seniors and stood next to us until the very end. We demanded a lot from you, but all of you always showed up for us and each other, and for that we are so grateful. We were able to end our basketball careers on such a high, and even with it ending in a loss in the Elite Eight, I believe all 4 of us seniors would say that we wouldn't have changed a thing.
I'll try and grab the mic so Clint doesn't have a heart attack for his Instagram followers. Use the space. No, we're not there. Not American Idol. Yeah. Walk around. Yeah, what a special night. This Hall of Fame award is something that we did 11 years ago. And so when the seniors, we started to meet on Zoom, we were like trying to actually piece together what had happened during that season. We couldn't remember. We needed pictures. We were all like, we're old. We're old now. But we were piecing together, some of the not so great games, but we came out on top, which is what matters. And so it was kind of great. Everybody went through their own challenges during the year. We certainly had a different season with Coach being pregnant and expecting, and then had baby Zach, Ashley stepping in. That had never happened before. Us changing gyms, that was different. I was very used to Gulrich and the high school gym. Very close, so the depth perception was really different. But all in all, those are the challenges that you face in college, right? And they're nothing compared to what these ladies are facing now. Just catching up with some of them and certainly seeing online too what these women have been through and what they are choosing to go for in life. I think we're receiving this Hall of Fame award for this season, but we have Hall of Fame people here today. And thank you for the recognition. But again, we're just so grateful for the university, for the coaching, for the players to have gone through this type of experience that really prepared us for what was to come. Thanks.
All right, all right. Lots of hardware, lots of hardware. Impromptu photo shoot. Anyone that wants to get over there, we'll wait. By the way, the bar is open, and it is now a cash bar, so, while we have a moment here, help yourselves. All right, one more round of applause. Thank you, ladies. All right, our next inductee comes from the women's tennis team and ranks as one of the greatest players in the history of the most successful program at UMW, Noelle Labar. Noelle was the top player on Mary Washington's first NCAA championship team in 1987-88, finishing with a 28-6 singles record, playing number one against the best players in the country, and finished 26-5 at one doubles. The Eagles finished 33-1 in that championship season, her senior year. In her four-year career, the Eagles finished with an incredible 114 wins, 14 losses, and one tie. Yeah, that's amazing. Noelle still ranks second in program history in singles and doubles victories with a 125-34 singles record and a 101-27 doubles record. So I asked her coach, who's with us this evening, the man who is Mary Washington Athletics, Hall of Famer Ed Hegman, to remember Noelle for us. Noelle finished high school as a high school state champion in girls tennis doubles and completed her college career as the number one singles and doubles player on the 1988 MWC National Champion Division III team and was named an All-American in doubles. In between these two fantastic achievements, this retired ballet and basketball star, who coming out of high school was characterized by her father as a great kid but tends to be really lazy. Ed's mind is like a vault. Managed to achieve an amazing record in both singles and doubles. Many of these wins were against Division I and II opponents. Noelle, at 6'1", and her doubles partner, Mitzi Kimball, at 5 feet even. Mitzi, you grew from last year. Congratulations. Formed an intimidating, feisty, and daunting doubles combination and led their team to a 33-1 record and a national team championship in 1988. Noelle served as coach's navigator on all road trips for 4 years, sitting in the front passenger seat of the 15-passenger van. She propped her legs up on the dashboard due to her 6'2" length, and at some point always asked me to wake her after 15 minutes and then proceeded to Z out for a quick nap. In spite of those lost minutes, we always arrived on time for the matches during all those years. Thanks for being such a great leader on and off the court and successfully guiding us to our competitions. Ed. It's redemption time. Noelle's Hall of Fame doubles partner, Mitzi Kimball Roser, added, "First, I would like to congratulate Noelle. Like me last year, you are the grandmother of this year's Hall of Famers. Yes, the old lady of the group. I had the pleasure of being Noelle's doubles partner for 3 years. She was a sophomore and I was a freshman when Coach Hegman paired us together. I think we both thought, wow, at first because of our slight difference in height. Over time, I think we both learned to play more aggressive doubles. I learned how to set her up and made her look good. When she got ready to hit an aggressive forehand volley or an overhead, our opponents would often literally turn their backs. Inside my gentle giant partner was a tough competitor both in doubles and in singles. Noelle was also one of the bravest girls on our team because she sat in the passenger seat next to Coach while he was driving the van. She sat up there because of her long legs, but it had to be scary at times. No one can forget the time we went backwards on I-95 when we missed an exit ramp for Johns Hopkins. And I will leave that right there. Over the years, Noelle and I have stayed in tennis and have enjoyed teaching, coaching, and playing. I have a great deal of respect for my gentle giant, yet fierce, but for sure a softie at heart. She slept with a corner of her baby blanket when we traveled, other known as her night-night. It was rather disgusting, but I had to live with it because she's so much taller than me. Finally, I just want to wish Noelle, my favorite doubles partner, a happy Mother's Day. I know she and Lee are both proud parents of Taylor and Christian and all that they have accomplished in life so far. Please wish your sweet mom a happy Mother's Day, too. I know both of your parents and your entire family are proud of you. It is my pleasure to welcome to the podium our newest UMW Athletic Hall of Famer, a Mount Rushmore player in women's tennis team history, both literally and figuratively, Noelle Labar.
Ooh, man. I know, I'm going to pick this up. So I'm not great at public speaking, but I'll take a shot at it. And yes, I am a gentle giant. This one, Mitzi, at 4'11", and I believe I did grow. I think you grow after you have children, so I think I'm probably closer to 6'2" now. And I got my heels on tonight. But I should be part of the basketball team. Gosh, woo-woo! You girls rocked it. That was awesome. And I sat here thinking when they said we had Zoom meeting and we couldn't remember, it had been 11 years, and I'm sitting here thinking, 1984 to 1988, let me count on my fingers, that was 35 years ago. Gosh. I might be the great-grandmother here. But anyway, it's been great. Mary Washington College was the name of the school when I entered in 1984. So there is a little conflict when I talk, because sometimes I say UMW, sometimes I say Mary Washington College. So anyway, thanks, Clint, for the introduction. Thanks, guys. It wasn't too much of a roast, so that's good. I did enjoy sitting next to Coach for 4 years, riding shotgun. And, you know, back then, I drove the van a few times when he got tired on long road trips. That's pretty crazy. Don't you think? I drove the van, especially since my family tells me I'm a terrible driver. But Coach and I were quite the team, along with my teammates here, Susie, Mary Beth, and Mitzi. Can you guys stand up? Come on, stand up. Stand up. Stand up. I'm saying this because my senior year, and we're trying to piece this back together too, it came down to 6 of us. 6. Nobody could get injured. Nobody could get hurt. I don't know, a couple people quit, injured. I'm not sure what happened, but it came down to 6 of us. And we were the best practice partners. These girls were awesome. We never had drama. We came out. Mary Beth always had a smile on her face. She was like our go-getter. She was so positive, was always the one with the positive energy. Susie was the hardest worker. Susie got out there early. Susie was always working. She was going for it. And all the time, you know, I was like, man, I need to skip my soap opera today and be like Susie and get to practice early, okay? But I had to get my nap in and I had to get my soap opera in. And then there was Mitzi, and Mitzi just, you know, Mitzi's great. She rode me all the time, you know, this little thing. She was always in my ear, do that, and I was just like, okay. Anyhow, we had a good time. So I did write a speech. It's not the best, but I'm going to go for it, Okay, so thank you, Clint, for the introduction. I'm so excited to be here tonight, and I'm really excited to be surrounded by all these amazing athletes. And I'm celebrating your successes and the success of UMW athletics, or Mary Washington College. Thanks again, Clint, for organizing and all your efforts. I know how hard you work, all the emails throughout the year, and I just, I really appreciate all your efforts and what you do for the school. I love all the posts. Thank you. And I'd like to thank the committee for selecting me. I don't know who it was, but thank you. I'm honored, and I'm humbled, and I'm very excited to be here. So I'd also like to thank my family. I have Taylor and Christian. Taylor, just a little bit about them. Taylor was a 4-year swimmer at East Carolina. She's a pirate, and she had a great career as a swimmer. And Christian, my son, had a 3 1/4 year. He got chased out because of COVID. He's a 3-year starter on the men's baseball team here at Mary Washington, and I was so proud. So cool when he made his decision to come here and play baseball. And of course, my dad's here, and there's a fun fact for my dad. My dad is a Hall of Famer for Fairleigh Dickinson University, okay, in Rutherford, New Jersey. And my dad is his team. He's a Hall of Famer. And I don't know if you all follow the NCAA tournament, but Fairleigh Dickinson beat Purdue in the tournament. And it was a big deal. And my dad is the last surviving member of his team. And it's pretty darn cool. Yep. So I'm very honored to follow in his footsteps. Yeah. The other thing my dad and I have in common is that my dad always talked about his coach, who he just, all growing up we had to hear about, what was it, Dick Holub? Don Holub? Dick Holub. Anyway, and he's a legend at Fairleigh Dickinson University for basketball, and it's just so awesome that I got to play for Coach Hegman, so great. But yeah, so I wanted to thank my family for being here. My mom can't be here tonight, but she was a big part of my success. My teammates, of course, Coach Hegman for being here tonight. It means a lot, and it's so good to be reunited with my 3 teammates, Susie, Mary Beth, and Mitzi. I love you girls. Okay. So back in the early 80s, I was fortunate enough to hear Arthur Ashe speak at a UST event in Richmond. I'm from Richmond, Virginia, and Richmond's his hometown. Okay? Arthur showed up on stage holding his tennis racket. And when he walked out, he spoke and he said, this is one piece of equipment, this racket. And this racket has opened up so many doors in my life and throughout my career. And when I was thinking, I've always felt the same way about tennis. The one racket. The journey it's taken me on has been incredible. Tennis for me has been the gift that keeps on giving. It's been an amazing journey of education here at UMW, Mary Washington College, competition, travel, took me to Japan, I taught all over, coaching, coached many state championships, sent several of my boys here to play, friendships, oh wow, and business opportunities. It's been my career. I've been a tennis pro for 30 years. And even marriage. I met my husband through tennis, and Lee and I just celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary this year. But the door opened in 1984 when I came to Mary Washington College for a recruiting trip with Coach Hegman. I knew the minute I stepped on campus that Mary Washington would be my home for the next 4 years. I knew it. I knew the minute, and I never looked back. Tennis became my career for 30 years, and I had a blast. I loved it here. Loved it. I used to walk around campus thinking, oh, man, it's so beautiful. I go to my 8 o'clock classes. I'd be like, man, this place is so pretty. How am I so lucky to be here? And then I go back to my dorm, and girls would be like, I'm packing up. I'm going home. I'm going here. I'm like, why? What are you doing? Why? This place is awesome. I love it. It's great. I was so happy here in my 4 years. It's just such a wonderful community. Fredericksburg, the whole package. Since I am the old lady of this group, I thought I would share some fun facts about being part of the UMW women's tennis team in the 80s, in 84 to 88. You guys will be really excited to know that, yes, we still went to Golden Corral and Shoney's. We did. And my husband's real lucky I hung in there because he actually took me on a date to Golden Corral, and he's never lived it down. I was like, I can't walk in this door. But Coach loved the ice cream. We were not the Eagles back then. We were what? Blue Tide. Yep, we were the Blue Tide. And we played a tough schedule. We played a tough schedule. As a matter of fact, this might sound a little cocky, but you have to have a little bit of edge, right? But when we did play our D3 schools, Mitzi and I would look at our watches and we'd race each other. She goes, you playing? I'm playing. We'd see who could finish their match the quickest, okay? It was pretty good. We played a lot more D1 schools than D3 schools, and the schedule was awesome. You had to like the color blue. If you look at a few of the pictures, Coach wore this blue Adidas warm-up suit. We called it the blueberry suit, and he wore it every day of my whole career. I never saw him in anything different, ever. And here he come. So you had to like blue. But Coach was amazing, and he was such a big part of all of our success. And Coach wore many hats back in the 80s. And, he was the AD. He was the athletic director, and he coached us crazies, right? So he was the AD. He was out at practice every day. He was maintenance back then. Coach did the maintenance. And then after practice or matches, and it'd be a long day, I go to a men's basketball game, and Coach would be there running the scoreboard. He'd be there all night, be there running the scoreboard after coaching us. Coach was a driver, transportation. He was the snack guy. He always had snacks for us. But, we had to watch our weight. But he always had snacks for us. He was a cookie monster. He was the cookie monster. So what happened was his coach kept cookies under the seat of the van, his driver's seat. So he wouldn't let us have them because, we were in training. But what I would do is we go to the hotel, we roll in and be like, Coach, I forgot something in the van. And then I'd go snag his cookies, pass them out to all the girls. He was the cookie monster. He was a shoe gooer. Does anybody know what shoe goo is? Oh, my gosh, we all look ridiculous. He would take our shoes, especially mine, a size 12 foot, and he's putting shoe goo all over it, and I could barely run on the tennis court. It was tripping all over the place, but Coach, and he did it. Racket stringer, up all night, stringing our rackets at tournaments. Academic advisor, he was really good at it, helped us along the way. He knew things before I knew them. He knew my grades before I ever knew them. I'd take an exam, and I'd come out to practice, and he'd be like, hey, you didn't do so well. Oh, I didn't? Or he'd say, oh, you did great. And I'd be like, oh, okay, good. He knew everything before I knew it. There were no secrets. He was a trip planner organizer. He was the drop shot king. He played us every day in practice, and all he did was slice and dice us. Slice and dice, drop shot, drop shot, drop shot, drop shot. And he beat us. And he even loved drop shotting so much, he named his beloved golden retriever Drop Shot, who came to work every day, laid under his desk. That was a darn good dog. Loved Drop Shot. He was a life lesson lecturer. Oh, boy, I got an earful a lot, but I retained it, and I appreciate it. So Coach had some quotes just like the girls on the basketball team are saying. We had a tough season, kind of like the girls' basketball team, and he came back and he rolled up one day and he had these T-shirts over the van and the seat, "No guts, no glory." And we were all looking at each other, we got to wear these T-shirts? But we did. And as he was rolling up with his "No guts, no glory," he was playing "Eye of the Tiger." Yeah, "Eye of the Tiger." We had that going on. And then he would always come to me because I was pretty laid back. And I went through a phase where, I don't know, I lost my first set 6-0. And he would be like, "What are you doing?" And I'd be like, "I don't know." And then I'd win 6-0, 6-0. It just was something that was going on at the time. And he would come up and he'd get so mad and he'd go, "What do I need to do to light a fire under your skirt?" And that was constant. What do I need to do to light a fire under your skirt? He was so passionate, and sometimes I feel like I would just like to see him get upset. I don't know. But I did listen every time. And his best one was play to win, not to lose. And that's how you play life. You play to win, not to lose. And when I coached my boys in high school for 9 years, I found myself saying that all the time. Play to win, not to lose. Take chances. Don't be scared. Just do it. So it was great. So it was a privilege to play for Coach and to be a part of the national championship team in '88, especially after we bombed out the year before and he packed us up in the middle of the night in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and drove us home and dropped us at the doorstep. That was fun. But he was great. We have so many good memories. And that national championship is something I will never forget. And it's just, it's awesome. So Coach is celebrating his 80th birthday this August. So on behalf of all of us here tonight, my teammates, we would like to wish him a happy birthday, and could you guys too? So, Coach, you want to stand up? Come on. Happy birthday. And in closing, I'd like to wish all the moms, the mothers out there, a happy Mother's Day. And like I said, I'm honored to be here, and thank you so much. And go Eagles. See ya.
Okay, our next inductee hails from the men's soccer team, class of 2003, Michael Nissim Sabat. Michael was one of the top midfielders in men's soccer program history, led the Eagles to a 54-21-4 record in his 4-year career, with 3 teams gaining national rankings and 1 advancing to the NCAA tournament in 2001. He was a 3-year team captain, gaining all-state, all-region, and all-conference honors in 2001 and 2002. He was a 2-time NSCAA Scholar Athlete All-America selection as well. I asked his coach, fellow Hall of Famer Roy Gordon, who's with us tonight, to remember Michael. How does one talk about a young man you've known for his entire life, whose family has been among your very closest and dearest friends for over 40 years, who played with your children, who you have watched grow up and then somehow become an instrumental player in your program without sounding trite and cliched? To say that Michael was coachable, was a great teammate, a very good player, and an exceedingly hard worker would be stating the obvious. He has always been a wonderful, caring person, something that has carried over into his professional career as an attorney advocating for low-income people, helping to ensure their access to the civil justice system. But it is an attribute that helped him, along with Ryan Geib and Matt Heimerle, to take a leadership role in the team as sophomores, bringing the group together and creating a great team environment. However, the thing about Michael that stands out most in my mind was his competitive drive. That was what set him apart from everyone else in the very talented group of young men who were part of the program at the time. He wanted to win at everything. And that competitive drive, that will to win, set him up for all the great things he did as a soccer player at the University of Mary Washington. He set a standard that all around him wanted to emulate and be a part of. He pulled everyone along with him. And it was that drive that challenged me to find new and better practice activities and coaching schemes that would challenge the team. To satisfy his drive, we had to create practices that mimicked competitive games. As a result, we were all better for it. Now, Michael had the unique opportunity of having his high school coach as an assistant coach in college, Mike Webb. Webb, who's here with us this evening, had this to say about Michael. It was my pleasure to coach Nissim at the University of Mary Washington, as well as at Chancellor High School as both a JV and varsity player. Nissim in all played 9 consecutive seasons for me, and for that alone, he should receive some sort of an award. Nissim was the most coachable and competitive player I have ever coached. His desire to win was unparalleled, whether it was a 4-square game or a match. It has been an honor to coach him, be his friend, and now watch him being inducted into the UMW Athletic Hall of Fame. I'm so happy to welcome to the podium our newest UMW Athletic Hall of Famer from the men's soccer team, number 9, Michael Nissim Sabat.
I think Coach Gordon and Webb stole my script. Basically, what I had to say about them. But thank you very much for this induction. I'm very honored and humbled to be here. And as Noelle said, we have no idea who the selection committee might be. But thank you very much for the induction. Obviously, I'd like to thank the athletic department and Patrick, the president, and Coach Jason Kilby. And finally, I need to thank the University of Mary Washington for not only allowing me to be up here, but also for shaping my entire life. And as Coach Gordon alluded to in his comments, yes, my entire life. In 1975, my parents moved down here 6 years before I was born. Moved down here from Philadelphia for my dad to take a job in the psych department. And yes, I concede that you probably know my name, not for me, but for my dad. As many people say, I know you, but I don't know you, Michael. I know your dad after he's been here for 40 years. So, and they met another young family who had started here around that time and who happened to be our neighbors, Coach Corey Gordon, the same Gordon that you know. So when I was born in 1981, 6 years after my family had been here, Mary Washington College and the Gordons were very much ingrained in my life. So from hanging out in my dad's office on sick days to being at Coach Gordon's camps in Sunken Road, Mary Washington has always been a part of my life. Those camps planted a seed for me to come here. I always remember thinking it was cool that I knew the head coach. When I was a camper, I was proud of the fact of knowing Roy and proud of being able to come to his camp. So proud that today I still have one of those camp t-shirts that I still wear. All right, so I don't know if Coach was giving out XLs to all the 5-year-olds and 15-year-olds, back in the 80s. But it's great. So I graduated from the Sunken Road camp to becoming a ball boy for Mary Washington. I remember rushing out of my elementary school dismissals to get to the battlegrounds to be a ball boy. And I was handing the ball over to many of my great predecessors, Dave Lawston, Jeff Kramer, Tim Farrell, Chris Farrell, And so I must thank them for showing me during those early years of how to play. But then, obviously, as I got older, they coached me, and they are great friends to me today. And they taught me how to play. So I fell in line there. So next came my pursuits and local traveling teams. As you know, hours, days, weekends, and much more that my parents endured. I remember getting cut from one of the best teams in the state. It was a team in Prince William, and we were in Fredericksburg. And my parents supported me in that disappointment. Looking back, though, I think we were all relieved I didn't have to drive up to Northern Virginia and commute there and practice multiple times a week. Yet I know my parents would have totally been committed to doing that like they always did. They are my biggest cheerleaders. And so when I was deciding in high school to decide I was going to end my soccer career, I'm sure they were disappointed. But little did they know that I had a surprise up my sleeve. So I was planning to go to William & Mary, and I think my parents were proud of my intentions to go there. So leading up to the night before the deposit was due at William & Mary, the next day we were going to pay our money. That was my destination. But I couldn't give up the desire to play. And I couldn't. I just thought I just could take a chance at Mary Washington, despite Roy. I know he says it now, but I didn't know any of that. Knew nothing about Roy wanting me to play here. He was very coy, very discreet about wanting me to come here. So that night, the night before William & Mary was due, I told my parents I was coming to Mary Washington, and they literally leapt off the sofa. And I think to this day, I'm not sure their reason for doing so, whether it was that I was choosing athletics as a priority in my next step, that they were saving money, that I was not going to William & Mary, or that I was staying close to home. So maybe Mom and Dad could tell me that soon. Whatever the reason was, I'm glad I made that choice to stay here. So my time at Mary Washington has always been a defining moment in my life, but it could have been short-lived if not for Roy. After my first semester in 1999, I thought about transferring out for a variety of reasons. One being because I don't think my dad could face his colleague who gave me a C in general psych. But in any event, I talked to Roy, and Roy guided me to stay. And it was that 1999 team that set the bar for my career here. It was the expectation that soccer was supposed to be good. We were nationally ranked. Winning was expected. And I'm proud that Coach Gordon cultivated for my entire career, and I think for the entire program, obviously, that winning atmosphere. Although this stage is set here tonight for my individual accomplishments, that's not what I remember. Instead, I relish my memories of being surrounded by good people, great people, many who still remain my best friends today. So often I wonder if I ever left this place, because while we've grown up, Mary Washington remains dear to all of us. So many thanks to my group, Ryan Guy, Jamie Scully, Mark Salati, Dan Curran, Steve Ramos, Aaron Bernstein, Zach Weinberg, and Lee Murray, and my fellow Hall of Famers, Dan Dupras and Kevin Loden. They all were, and they all remain my biggest and loudest supporters. And thanks to Dave Newlands, my trainer and trusted friend, after one time getting elbowed in my nose during a game, I asked him, is it broken? To be met with the only way that Dave responds, and his exuberation was, "Oh, yes." So, in addition, I need to thank all my teammates who obviously made me so much better. Obviously, soccer's a team game. To Chad Waller, my best friend since 9th grade, who came to Mary Washington the year before me, and another reason I did not want to leave Fredericksburg, for his unwavering support. And to Mike Webb, he built the powerhouse at Chancellor High School, and he's been mentoring me since at least third grade when I sat on his team benches. So although he helped me develop, I don't think he wanted me to grow up. So much so that I had to get a doctor to write me a prescription that I was 5 feet 8 inches tall to prove to him that I was that tall. So he called it prescription fraud. I'm 6'1", he's still 5'8". You decide. And to Clint, who is our biggest fan, so I sort of wonder if it's a self-fulfilling prophecy for him. I like to think that he puffs us all up to be bigger than what we really are, and it's us that have to rise to meet Clint's expectations. To my family and to my parents who made all the games and supported me in all my endeavors. Thankfully, my dad was tenured by the point that I was playing, so he can make all the games. And he was definitely keen on making sure the refs would make all the right calls, or that they made bad calls. I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge how much they sacrificed for me, their time, money, personal interest. To my mom, who fed our teams pounds of lasagna dinners and more, treated my friends and my teammates as if they were her own sons. To my brother Ryan and to my sister Suzanne, and their families, James, Tracy, Sasha, Isaac, Jackson, for being my best friends, my confidants, and my competitors. And I'd like to thank my wife, Brooke, who is both a fantastic partner to me and a wonderful mom, to our two kids, Zeke and Owen. I coach my kids' youth teams, and she doesn't know soccer, but now she started to develop what I've called to be like a mama bear, where she's now thinking more about soccer. And it warms my heart, though, that both our kids, Zeke and Owen, are starting to follow in my soccer footsteps. One thinks he's Messi, and one thinks he's Ronaldo. They don't think they're dad. And they've definitely told me that dad does not know the game, which is fair. So Coach Gordon once told me that Mary Washington can provide three things: socializing, academics, or athletics. You could do two of the three, but you couldn't succeed in all of them. So I think he might be right, but I relish my time here trying to eke out the most of all those areas. But I'm so indebted to Mary Washington. It's been such a big part of my life. I'm so humbled to be part of the Hall of Fame and the community here. Congratulations to the other inductees. It makes me proud. Happy Mother's Day, and thank y'all very much.
Okay, our final inductee surely must be used to going last alphabetically, growing up as a Weller and marrying into the Zembo family. From the women's lacrosse team, class of 2001, Kate Weller. Kate was the dominating defender as the women's lacrosse program became a national power in the early 2000s, gaining first-team All-America honors in 2000 and 2001. The 2001 U.S. Lacrosse National Defensive Player of the Year, which was the first National Player of the Year award ever received by a Mary Washington player in lacrosse. Kate led the Eagles to their first ever NCAA tournament appearance in 2000 and the NCAA Final Four in 2001, gaining first-team All-Region and All-Conference honors along the way. Her coach, fellow Hall of Famer Dana Hall, in these comments, failed to mention her expert co-navigator skills. We were talking about the navigating skills. Kate, as a co-navigator, when they went to NCAAs, the three vans drove crisscrossed all over much of the northeastern United States, looking for Kate's parents' house from Williams College. The girls in my van got a little worried when we hit the customs at the Canadian border. But she did have these words to add. What wasn't in the record books was the fact that Kate was the toughest defender to this day, marking her opponent. I would assign her the opponent's either highest scoring attacker or assist specialist. Kate's 1v1 defensive skills wouldn't allow her mark to perform, either score or assist. She would deny them the ball like no one else could. The other special skill was her ability to communicate on the field and direct her teammates. She was the glue that kept our defense intact. Our success during her career was in part because our defense shut down our opponents, and we had some incredible attackers to get the job done on the other end of the field. The old saying, offense wins games, but defense wins championships, was never more true than during the Kate Weller era. I asked one of Kate's proteges, also a UMW Hall of Famer who followed in Kate's footsteps as an All-American and National Defensive Player of the Year, Mel Block, what she remembers most about Kate. I had the pleasure of playing with Kate when I was a freshman, starting out my lacrosse career at Mary Washington. We all knew her as Weller on the field, and she was a defensive force. She was a great role model for me as I was new to college lacrosse, and I was able to learn so much from her to improve my defensive game. Weller was always giving it 110% on the field while having the most positive, upbeat attitude. She was motivational and full of energy. She was supportive and helpful. Every defensive play she made was given everything she had, and that work ethic and determination paid off that season as we advanced to the Final Four for the first time. It's a pleasure to welcome to the podium our final inductee of the evening, the most decorated player from the greatest era in women's lacrosse team history, number 18, Kate Weller.
Still have directional issues.
Now, I should note here that Kate and I had a ritual before every home game, which showed her responsibility and I think my trustworthiness. Before every game, Kate would come to the press box and hand me her necklace to hold during the game. So, before I hand the mic over to you, do you have anything you need me to take care of while you're speaking?
I might need you to help me. Yeah. There we go.
There we go.
I can figure this out.
I have to put on my bifocals now to get it.
And
Don't worry about a thing.
I have to add, this was such an important thing that I wanted to make sure this tradition continued. So this is for your two athletes as a representation of how awesome a supporter you are for all of us here at Mary Washington. You are just fabulous, and we love you. I will also add, because I'm a historic preservation grad, I want it known that these are historical reproductions of the original necklace.
Very nice.
And in my defense, I provided my team with a free complimentary tour of not one, not two, but 3 states in the Northeast. Yes, Noelle, I very much appreciate your ability. Oh, where are you? I've lost. There we go, right in the front row. I appreciate your ability to navigate your team to all of their games. I am a complete failure at that. And my teammate, the awesome Beth Schminke, who moved out of New York when she was 8 years old, had to be the one to find the way back to my own house. The great thing about that is, I think we've all said this tonight and all had this feeling that being at Mary Washington was very much being part of one of the most amazing families you could be part of. Whether or not it was through academics, through athletics, through just the amazing people you met, it was just an amazing community to be a part of. And I'm so honored to be here. I'm honored to now be part of a new family as an inductee into the Hall of Fame. I'm happy to be here with all of you. I love watching the enthusiasm of the 2011 basketball team. I I love that. I miss that. It made me feel really great to see all of you be together tonight. Seeing my other inductees, hearing some of the history of Mary Washington College, knowing that it's MWC, thank you very much. I love that and miss that. Now, Mary Washington is a family. None of us could have accomplished what we did unless we did it together. In 2017, I had the honor to stand together for the induction into the Hall of Fame with some of the most amazing teammates I had and will ever have. Our 2001 Mary Washington women's lacrosse team was inducted together. And again, speaking to the 2011 team, it's an amazing experience. I hope you all enjoy the weekend. I still remember that. I love seeing all of our children together, our families together. It is a really unique experience that can't be replicated. This was a perfect moment to stand with my amazing teammates, the women who together did amazing things I'm so grateful for. What I learned on and off the field from my teammates, and especially my coach, Dana Hall, the spirit that Coach generated was one of excellence together. Our message of "we believe" resonated on many levels, and this was Coach's big message to us, is "we believe." And Coach, I tried to find my t-shirt. I think my daughter has worn it to her lacrosse matches, so the spirit is there even if I couldn't find it for this evening. We believed we could accomplish great things, but we also believed in each other. We believed that if any of us needed anything, there was someone there to support. That was true during a game, but also in our lives. That belief started with our amazing coach, and in so many ways, she was, is, and will always be the physical embodiment of "we believe." Coach, I love you so much. You're fabulous. You created things in our team that I know none of us could have done individually on any other team, and it was just an honor to be part of that. Thank you, Coach, for everything you have done and continue to do for all of us. Fortunate enough to not call you Dana, not call you Mrs. Hall, but just call you Coach. Thank you. Without this Mary Washington family, the joy that lacrosse brings would never have been so rich. We were all better athletes and teammates because we had each other. And I'm so grateful I had the honor of playing with so many incredible athletes, amazing lacrosse players, and fabulous women, especially when I get myself lost in Vermont, Massachusetts, and New York. I will also say that I did not include the picture, Coach, of all of you wearing the historical clothing once we finally got to my parents' house, but I do want it documented that I had my whole team go up into my bedroom, find reproduction 18th century clothing, and then decide to do a fashion show for all of our parents who had been waiting for us for about 3 hours. I'm incredibly blessed that I grew up in my family. My parents were both strong athletes who instilled in me a strong work ethic. I never remember a game that at least one of my parents was not on the sidelines. When my sister Becky, who's here tonight, and I both had games at the same time, Dad would pace between fields to make sure we both had someone cheering us on. My parents made Becky and I their everything. You don't realize what that means until you have your own children. And I see all of us today who have brought our children with us sitting here in the audience, and it's really wonderful to see that. You take for granted the hours of driving to games and practices. As a child, you don't understand the important lessons your parents provide in their example. Now, as I struggle to know what the heck 30 love means, or the difference between a walk, trot, or lope, I can appreciate when my dad had to figure out women's lacrosse rules. And not only that, but when he became informed enough about them that some of our long driving trips back from away games were the best strategizing sessions I could have asked for. I value those times when we drove together. I value those periods of listening to him, knowing that he was watching my game and that he was invested in everything that I was doing. So thank you so much, Dad. Thank you, Mom. We'd review what went well and what I needed to work on next time. with teenagers, I now understand how hard it is to give guidance. Next page, sorry. To give guidance without sounding critical. But these talks help me identify opportunities to grow and expect the best performance I could give. When I look back on the role of sports and my time at Mary Washington, I appreciate how all the support I received from all of these different families. The team that consists of my mom and dad, the wonderful women who played beside me, my absolutely fabulous coach, and everyone who supports female athletes. The lessons I learned on the field I carry with me in my personal life. Each and every day and my time at Mary Washington gave me innumerable memories that I cherish. I am grateful, honored, and humbled to have been a part of these important families. I am thankful that I was, am, and always will be part of a much stronger we. I want to say a huge thank you again to all of you who came out to support us. You are part of that we. I want to do a huge thank you to my personal we, my family, my husband who's here tonight, my two amazing kids, Alex, who is an awesome tennis player, and I seriously don't understand tennis. I'm sorry, I don't. My daughter, Ella, who both rides and is following in my footsteps playing lacrosse. It's awesome to be there. And I finally understand how cool it is to hear another parent on the sidelines talking about your child and saying, "Oh, who's that kid? She just had a great hit." Yeah, that's mine. That's my bean. Also, again, a huge thank you to my parents, my mom and dad, and especially to my sister and her spouse. Mary, thank you so much for being here. I totally needed to embarrass you up here. So thank you again, everybody, and have a great evening. And again, happy Mother's Day to all of the moms. Thank you for spending it with us.
Speaking of hits, I think that's the first time I ever handed it back to you after you hadn't hit someone, so thank you for that. It's now my pleasure to recognize someone who is unfortunately not able to be with us this evening. Something came up, and possibly, well, definitely embarrass her. Dee Conway, who's retiring after serving as the longest tenured coach in Mary Washington history for 36 years. I would like to end the evening by saying, Dee, thank you. From all the young women whom you coached, mentored, and taught, from all of your colleagues over the years who learned from your example, and a grateful university that wouldn't be the same without your significant contributions on every level. When you hear the name Dee Conway, the first thing that comes to mind is class. We love you, Dee, and wish you nothing but the best. Okay. Dee and I have a code for about the last 10 years. When one of us would be really mad about something, our reply to the other would be, okay. So, Dee, one last okay. So, I echo everyone who wished everyone a happy Mother's Day. Totally stole all the thunder for that paragraph. I would like all the current and new Hall of Famers to stand at this time because we did have a significant number of Hall of Famers coming back to join us this year. So, everyone, this year's class, all the previous inductees, please stand. Heck yeah. I hope everybody comes back each year, and I thank you for coming and supporting this event each year. It truly shows how special Mary Washington is and how special the people are that it produces. Thank you, drive safe, and have a wonderful evening, and we look forward to seeing you next year. If we can get the inductees, we want to take some photos with our professional photographer. So the team inductees, we'd like the individual inductees and your families. Over with Steve there by the door. Thank you.